Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Clean Slate, your weekly daily fantasy golf preview show here on DK TV. My name is Geoff Ulrich, and this week we are going to be talking about the Pebble Beach Pro-Am event. The players are headed back to California for what should be a pretty fun and competitive event on one of the most famous golf courses in America. If you haven't checked out the PGA contests on DraftKings, definitely do that after you're done watching this video. There's the Drive the Green contest, only a $3 entry. $50,000 to first place. It is my favorite tournament. I love throwing a bunch of entries in there, watching my teams go up and down over the 4 days, the nice 4-day sweat you get with golf. It's one of the best things about the sport. Definitely something to check out. It's just a small investment for a lot of entertainment, in my opinion. So the Slate Notes this week, there's 3 courses in play. They're definitely playing at Pebble Beach, but there's actually 2 other courses the players will be visiting. It's a Pro-Am event, so each player is going to play each one of these courses once over the course of 3 days. There's Pebble Beach, there's Monterey Peninsula, and there's Spyglass Hill. 3 courses in play. All 3 of these courses are pretty short and pretty easy in general. Spyglass Hill tends to be the toughest. The final round will definitely be played at Pebble Beach. It only plays around 6,900 yards, although it can play a little bit tough if the wind gets up, so that's something to consider. Another thing to consider, the field this week is 154 golfers, but only the top 60 players and ties will actually get to play on Sunday. So it's going to be tough getting 6 of 6 players through. You're going to have to be really good with your value plays this week. Something else to consider, because you will get 3 rounds in, but getting 4 in will be tough for all 6 golfers. Definitely something else to consider this week, the weather. Pebble Beach and Monterey Peninsula, pretty exposed and on the coastline, right off the ocean. So targeting those players who maybe are playing in calmer conditions when they're on Pebble or Monterey Peninsula definitely could be a good tournament strategy, stacking those players on those courses on the calmer days. Spyglass Hill tends to be a little bit more tree-lined, a little bit more protected. So targeting players who may be playing there on a windy day, something to consider. Definitely watch the weather this week because it could crop up as an issue. Another tournament tip, target players who make a ton of birdies. Target those birdie machines. Look for players who rank highly in birdie average or birdies made for the year. A lot of the top players from last year ranked highly in birdies made for the week. The cut is going to be around -7 or -8, most likely, unless the weather plays a factor. Last year was at -7. Your player's just going to have to make a lot of birdies just to make the cut. So something to consider. Aggressive play in general, it's going to get rewarded this week. Another factor to consider, course history. This tournament has been played at this course for a long time, so we have a lot of data to go on. Definitely horses for courses this week to consider. A lot of experience can come into play with the greens this week as well. Poa annua tends to be tough to putt on, so having that course history to fall back on is important. Jimmy Walker's a player I'm going to consider a lot. He's made 5 straight cuts at this event. He also won this event back in 2014. He's just about as solid as it gets this week. He loves playing on the West Coast. Bryce Mulder played well last week. He also has a really nice record at Pebble Beach. 4 finishes of 12th or better in his last 6 starts here. I really like him just for the course history purposes. Pat Perez, he's got a really long history at this event. He's actually made 10 of his last 11 cuts while playing in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. That's kind of interesting. He has not been playing that well to start the year, but he might be an interesting value play, someone who could possibly get you 4 rounds of play in. Then you have Dustin Johnson, one of the top players with the best course histories here. He has won this event twice. He has, in 8 appearances, he has 5 top 5s and 2 wins. He's definitely a horse for the course, although he did have a bit of a blow up back in 2010 at the US Open. Something to consider for sure. As far as studs goes, there's a ton of talent at the top in this tournament. I expect ownership to be pretty spread out as a result. A lot of big names to choose from. At the top, you do have Jordan Spieth and Jason Day, 2 of the top 3 players in the world. I expect Jason Day to be a little less around just because he's coming off that miscut at Torrey Pines. People might be a little bit skeptical, but I do like this setup for Jason Day. He played well here last year, and I really like him for tournaments. I think he could be a bit overlooked. Jordan Spieth obviously makes for a great cash game play too. He's so consistent. Just below them, you have Dustin Johnson, who I just talked about, and Brandt Snedeker. Both of these players have really nice course histories. Brandt Snedeker is actually a 2-time winner here as well. So those 2 seem like really reliable choices this week. I kind of like Dustin a little bit more just for tournament purposes. I think he's got a good shot. And then below them, you have Bubba Watson and Phil Mickelson. Bubba Watson actually has not played this event since 2007. So we're not really sure what we're going to see from him. But he's a big hitter, talented guy. So he could definitely go well. But Phil Mickelson, he's been playing pretty great. And he actually looks like a pretty safe play this week. 3-time winner here. He looks like he's getting his game back in shape. Played well again last week. So someone to consider for sure. I might be on a little bit of Phil this week. And then right below them, Jimmy Walker, JB Holmes, two players who have been playing great on the West Coast swing thus far, both very familiar with the course. I like JB Holmes as a bit of a sleeper play this week. I'm not sure how highly owned he'll be, but I think he could definitely take advantage of this course with his length. Let's talk about some sleepers, though. My one theme for the week is don't be afraid to take chances. You're going to get 3 rounds of play in regardless, so you're going to need some of those lower-owned plays anyways. Why not take some chances? All your players are going to get 3 rounds of play, and there's some interesting plays in the 7K range for sure. I think Matt Jones is interesting. He's only 7,800. He's got a great history at Pebble Beach, and he's made 3 straight cuts to start the year. And then at 7,600, my other favorite play, Russell Henley. He was 15th at Pebble Beach as an amateur in 2010 at the U.S. Open. He could just make a ton of birdies, great putter, someone who could go low here for sure, I think. Some strong plays in the 6K range. There's some not well-known players, but some interesting plays nonetheless. Alex Prue, he's sort of a West Coast specialist, lives on the West Coast, had a lot of good finishes at this event and at Torrey Pines, both courses that use Poa annua greens. I really like him. He's coming off a top 10 on the web.com tour, hits it pretty far. I think he could be a sleeper this week, and I like his price. Then Greg Owen, the Englishman, he hits it pretty far too, and he deals with windy courses well. He's got a really good record of this event too. He's got multiple top 10s. So for 6,500, he looks like a pretty good value play this week to me. As far as favorite goes, my one piece of advice is don't overlook those cheaper players. Don't get stuck on Jordan Spieth and Jason Day. They both make for great plays, but there's a lot of interesting players right beneath them. We already mentioned Jimmy Walker. I do like JB Holmes. He came out here and shot a 64 and a 65 on Pebble Beach last year, and I think he could use his length and just his knowledge of the course to have a good week. Final thoughts is, this tournament allows you to take some chances because you're getting 3 rounds of play. So why not get creative with your fantasy lineups this week? You're going to be able to watch a lot of celebrities hit a lot of bad golf shots. Why not take some chances, get creative with your lineups? I'm definitely liking some of those West Coast specialists again here, like JB Holmes, like Jimmy Walker. I think one of those players might win the tournament. As far as final thoughts, definitely check out the DK playbook after you're done watching this video. There's a ton of great content across all the major sports. You can find my PGA cheat sheet there, weekly daily fantasy golf article, more information, more thoughts for the week there as well. My name's Geoff Ulrich, guys. You can find me on Twitter as @TheFantasyGrind. I hope you have a great week, and we will talk to you again soon.